So I probably appear quite shiny. I just got out of the shower, so I'm feeling quite refreshed and clean, and I've got lotion on because I have very dry skin. So um, anyway, um, I am a pretty firm believer that Bill Clinton killed angst, or at least he severely wounded it. Um, Clinton came to power in '92, if I remember correctly, 92 to 2001, and 92 is whatever, 92, 93. Anyway, I'm hazy on the perfect details. Look it up, wiki it, Google it, find out. Um, I think he killed the angst, and this is what I'm trying to get at. Um, During the first couple years of his obviously before his presidency, before him was George H.W. Bush, the elder Bush, um, and basically what happens under a Republican administration, um, your art gets darker. It just goes that way. During Reagan, um, the things were getting dark, and then during Bush it got even darker. And then Billy Clinton came along, and things started to get better. Um, people were more optimistic. They had more hope. Uh, Things started to turn around in the country. Not right away, but they did. Anyway, uh, I remember in the early '90s there was just late '80s and early '90s there was just this fantastic amount of angsty music, and it was just terrific. So when I say the 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 art was dark. You had bands like The Cure and Depeche Mode, and really depressing ones that I'm not even going to go into. Um, but here's the interesting thing. As things got better, I used to do spoken word poetry, and that kind of stuff is intrinsically deep and emotional, and quite often dark. It goes to the dark places. Uh, I kind of lost. It was kind of hard to be angsty and dark when I was making good money. I was having a good time. Um, I was really enjoying life in general. Probably because I was making good money. That has a lot to do with it. And I didn't have a lot to be negative about. Um, you know, uh, you can't. Out of pain, true art is born. Um, that's just the way it is. Usually, the pain of love lost, the pain of loss in general, the pain of unrequited love, unrealized love, if you will. It, that's really where most art comes from. It's probably why I hate musicals. And I hate musicals because musicals are by their very nature upbeat. The most dark, the darkest musical that I can think of, as far as like, there are none. There are none. Phantom of the Opera, not dark, just it's gothic, if you will, but you know, and what Sweeney Todd, it makes light of it all. I mean, it's murder and whatnot, but it's not dark. You know, it's not Bela Lugosi's dead. You know what I'm saying? Um, so that being said, I do miss the goth movement. I wasn't a full-fledged goth, but I really appreciated the music for what it was. Um, you know, Minor keys and big epic things and all that. And I didn't get that deep into it, but I enjoy it. But I think that got killed off, and I think it its death knell was rung um, the day Billy Clinton got in office, because things began to look up immediately, and that's we're halfway through Barack Obama's second term, and everything's music-wise is happy, happy, joy, joy. Um, we still have people dying overseas. We got school shootings for days, but the music on the radio is happy. Uh, so that may be me. I grew up in a time where you could hear um, a Depeche Mode song, and then a Prince song, and an REM song, and then a Madonna song, and then a Cure song, and a Michael Jackson song. Not necessarily in that order completely, but within an hour's time, you could hear songs from all those artists. And those are very wide and different artists. But I AB'd a somewhat alternative music act with a pop music act, and the radio was the top 40 radio was truly unsegregated, and oh God, how do I put it? Pop music now there's such a distinct lack of variety, and they don't know what to do with it, and it's the music industry eating itself. So we got to hear back then a whole lot. I mean, I grew up a rocker, so for me, hearing all that stuff, and then I just kind of got turned around, of course, by Prince, who is just a musical god, from pop to R&B to his terrible forays into hip hop, but jazz and funk, and rock. Um, if you ever, he did a Led Zeppelin cover years ago. It was just amazing, and I think he used to do it in concert, which I've seen him in concert. So amazing. He's an amazing showman, a fantastic voice, virtuoso musician, brilliant writer. He's just a musical god. And he turned me around and got me to where I kind of understood dance music a little better. And I'm talking about pop dance. I'm not talking about good quality electronic dance music, house and techno, the real house, the real techno, the stuff, that stuff, not EDM. Oof, don't get me started. But I think it's difficult to produce good, deep, meaningful, thoughtful art when things are going well. Things are going well for you personally. Things are going well for those around you. I think this is part of the reason why artists kind of lose their edge as they get older, because they start to get a little money. They start to, be popular, so they get this self-validation. And they don't feel like the loner anymore. They don't feel like the outsider, the outcast, or the outcasted. They feel like that things are up and happy. And it's like by the third album, nobody makes depressing music unless you're traveling around in a van, bleeding on your strings and going then that's what you do. You're dark. You don't have an upside. But I think it's awful hard to be angsty when things are going wonderful. And when you get older, no matter how wonderful things are, you just don't give a shit. So you don't. It's tough to rage against the machine when the machine is all you got. That's why I think young people need to be the artists. I don't think us old folks need to be out there making art. Well, music is the one I'm really focusing on, because it's my life. It's been in my life for decades. It's been my thing. So anyway, Bill Clinton killed angst, or at least kicked it to the curb. Anyway, that is all. Be good to each other.